Hello, good afternoon. This is Lydia Ford. I help people who are stuck in grief to get unstuck. And my grief business is called Grace to Win. In this very short moment, and it's going to be a short moment, I'm streaming uh, on oh gosh, StreamYard. I just opened up an account, so bear with me as I get used to this new social media. But we're going to talk about grieving takes time today. Since everyone grieves in different ways, everyone also grieves at a different pace as well, meaning that it could take a person a week, a month, or several years to move on while with their lives, I should say, while others need years to reach that same point. So again, don't try, never, 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 never try to compare your grief to anyone else's. Everybody's grief experience is unique and different. People grieve depending on the relationship that they had with that person. So, again, don't try to compare your grief to anyone else's. If someone close to you seems to be doing fine while you're still grieving, you're still snotting, crying, and crumbling under the weight and pain of the trauma you just went through, that doesn't mean that you got to hurry up and catch up with them. No, grief takes time. Take as long as you need. Or on the other hand, maybe you feel like you've moved on too quickly and that you should feel a lot worse because the people around you are feeling a lot worse who have recently lost a loved one. They're dealing with it in their own way, and you should deal with it in your own way as well. Unfortunately, there's no quick fix for grief and loss. It's something that you and I have to work through for many months or even years before we finally come to terms with it. Notice I said how we have to come to terms with it and not get over it. I don't think you ever get over the loss of a loved one. I know that I lost a brother, I've lost a grandmothers, grandfathers, my husband, my daughter. No way have I gotten over it, but I have grown and learned how to accept it. Okay. I know it sounds terrifying now to say that, and it's not something that you really want to hear. You're probably fearful that you're going to feel this way forever, but I guarantee you, you won't. I tell my clients and other people that I speak to about grief is this point right here. You can have Jesus and you can have therapy as well. Okay, so you don't have to worry. You don't have to be fearful about feeling this way for the rest of your life. I'm not saying that to scare you. I just want you to understand that grief is real. Okay, there's a reality about our grief, about our loss. And thankfully, I can assure you that while you won't ever get over the loss, you're going to learn how to move forward and not just cope with the grief. My plan, my strategy, my business is about not just surviving, but thriving and winning and moving on with your life to do great and mighty things because your grief is not tied, it should not be tied to a position you played or held in somebody's life or a role you played in somebody's life. Your grief is tied to your creator. Your grief is tied to the one who created you, predestined that you would walk in his will, that you would accomplish his plan and purpose for your life. It might take a long time. In fact, it's going to take a long time to process your grief, but you will eventually reach a point where you will remember your loved one with fondness instead of with pain, as impossible. It may sound impossible right now, but with help, with putting forth some effort, and I'm going to talk to you about that next because it's not just going to happen overnight. Grief takes time. It takes as long as it takes. It doesn't move in a straight line. It's hills and its valleys and its waves. All right. And you're going to feel however you feel. And you should not be ashamed. You should not succumb to people, especially people of faith, forcing you to get over it. If your loved one died in Christ, then you know he's in the presence of the Lord, or she's in the presence of the Lord. No, we should not be condemning. We should not be judging people because they're not moving as quickly through their grief experience as you or somebody else might move. So I often say, let grief do what it do, but don't get stuck. Don't allow grief to have a stranglehold, a stronghold upon your life. And if you're not careful, the enemy that comes to kill, steal, and destroy, the Satan, the devil, the thief, he will do all that he can to help you, to keep you, oh my God, in a state of depression, anger, bitterness, grief. You got to be so careful. He is very strategic. And because you are at your weakest point when you're in grief, you have to be careful that you don't allow him to keep you in cycles and cycles and cycles of grief. There is help. Again, you can have your faith, you can have Jesus, and you can ask for help. You can have a friend that walks alongside you through your grief process, or you can hire a counselor, a grief counselor. We all need somebody when we're not being our authentic self, when we lose it and we feel like we don't have the energy and the strength to move forward. Grieving takes time. It takes time, and it takes as long as it takes, and it's unique to every individual on this earth. This has been Grief to Grace, I should say, not grief, but grace to win. Another little snippet about the process of grief. And I will come back and I will talk about grieving takes effort. Faith is always now, right? Faith is always present, but faith without works is dead alone. And grief without putting some corresponding action to it, working your way out of the rut, working your way through the abyss. If you don't do the work, you don't put in the work, you might be staying in a place that you thought that you would never have to remain in. So it does take some effort. That's what we're going to talk about next time. Pastor Lydia Ford, you can contact me at www.thegracetowin.com. That's my website. You can sign up for a 30-minute free consult if you or somebody else needs grief counseling. Be glad to help you. There are several packages that are available through my grief ministry. You can sign up for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year. It's up to you. Different packages, different programs. Also, you can contact me on Facebook. You can direct message me, or you can leave me an email at lydiaford52@gmail.com. That's LYDIA, Lydia with a Y, Ford52@gmail.com. Y'all have a blessed day, and I will be back to talk about grieving takes effort. Bye.